Well, next up on the program, as every day passes and with every new unpredictable and escalatory exchange between Donald Trump and Elon Musk, we look at the trajectory of the relationship and how its outcome may actually impact countless people in countries across the world. Daniel Ives, the global head of tech and research and managing director and senior equity analyst at Wedbush Securities, joins us. Thanks very much, Daniel, for joining us this evening. Now, Elon Musk began railing against the so-called big, beautiful bill of Donald Trump, saying it would drive up the federal budget deficit and undo the cost-cutting work of DOGE. And Trump responded saying Elon was wearing thin and I asked him to leave. In a sense, is this where that relationship started going south?
Look, I think it started before that, right? I think when Musk left Trump administration and DOGE, there were clearly friction with Trump as well as Besson and others. But the biggest thing is that, look, Musk put his reputation on the line when it came to DOGE. The bill kind of goes against a lot of that. And it's caused frustration. The problem is that you want Musk to be less involved in politics. He's getting more involved. And the last thing you want as a Tesla shareholder is Trump going from a friend to a foe.
What about Musk announcing his decision to form his own political party?
Look, I think it went from a best friends to now a frenemy or what's really almost become like an enemy situation. Look, it's possible that they could, in some way, get together, try to have some sort of meeting over the coming months to stop this. Because, look, Trump needs Musk, Musk needs Trump. But the reality is that Trump doesn't want Musk starting a third party. Because then, to some extent, it actually becomes what's really a threat to the Republican Party when it comes to the midterm elections.
Now, Daniel, Musk wrote, and I quote, "Without me, Trump would have lost the election. Democrats would control the House, and Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate." To which Trump has now said that, why didn't you tell me this earlier on? Why are you telling me this now? It does have to be said that Musk's meltdown is quite unbelievable. I mean, did he not know about Donald Trump, or did he not get his thoughts straight about Donald Trump earlier on in the day?
Look, I think what changed his mind, look, with DOGE, there was a lot of brand damage that Tesla saw, and I think Musk underestimated that. Two, Musk is not a politician. From the outside looking in, it seems easy. I think once you get into the swamp of the Beltway, you realize how difficult it is, right? So I think he comes scorned. He had issues with Besson and I think a lot of the Trump administration. And that's why, from a Tesla shareholder perspective, it kind of taken on a life of its own as the soap operas played out.
Now, Musk has alleged, without providing any evidence, that Trump appears in the Epstein files. But in fact, thus far, there isn't anything to suggest that that may be the case. Now, of course, there's this back and forth happening when Musk now says that, oh, go ahead, produce the files, Mr. Trump, what are you waiting for? But isn't this, how would you look at this particular point in the context of the battle between the two men?
Look, I think it's you just don't want to see these types of back and forths. And I think it just further puts fuel into the fire between Musk and Trump. And look, and that speaks to right now, it's a beef. It's a contentious beef between the two.
So the other point, of course, is Trump saying that, the easiest way to save money in our budget is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts, to which Elon Musk says that, okay, fine, we'll go begin decommissioning our Dragon spacecraft immediately. Musk isn't sort of backing down, is he? He's willing to go to any extent.
I think, look, the bark's worse than the bite, right? I do think it kind of de-escalates a little because the reality is U.S. needs SpaceX for the space program, but Musk needs Trump support and government funding as well. I think cooler heads will prevail, but the soap opera's not done yet. And as they continue to go back and forth, that's really been a lot of the risk to Tesla at the time that they're going after an autonomous and robotics future.
All right, so the soap opera isn't done yet. Daniel, one final question. Trump's ally Steve Bannon has suggested that Elon Musk, who's South African born, should be deported from the country immediately. Isn't that, quite frankly, ridiculous?
Look, and a lot of this is noise, right? But the reality is that it's theater, political theater. But the last thing you want is Musk and Trump battling each other in a war of words. No one benefits. Trump doesn't benefit. Musk doesn't benefit.
All right, and I would suggest that thousands across his companies and indeed people around the world who are really looking up at what Musk can provide don't benefit either. Thank you very much, Daniel, for being with us. We're going to take a short break, out of time on Left, Right, and Center. There's a lot more coming up. Do stay tuned.